Hey guys, it's Marshall Mathers the Fourth here, back to you today with another video. And in today's video, I would like to take the time to make an apology video to Black Americans. And I want to start out by saying that, even though I do hate most of you, and I'm angry at the majority of you, jealous and envious of most of you, and definitely annoyed with most of you, but I would definitely say more so black women than black men. And that's just me personally and how I feel, in all honesty. But I want to talk about how, even though I do have a lot of hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy for most black Americans, I can definitely see and understand why that most of them live in big cities, and why for many generations and just throughout history for a long time, why they just always wanted to live there, of all places. And I get that, because after all, big cities do have the most opportunities, and that's an obvious fact. And not just black Americans live there, but also Indian Americans, Asian Americans, Mexican Americans, Muslim Americans, and also, and of course, and obviously, white people, or white Americans do as well. And so, I can't even really say that I blame black Americans for choosing to pretty much always, or most of the time, make the decision or choose to live in big cities. Because I would have done the same. If I had the chance and opportunity to do that, I would have done the exact same. And I'm not going to pretend or act like I would not have done that myself. Like, if I would have taken action a lot sooner and earlier in my life when I was younger, I definitely would have moved to a big city when I was a teenager, like 18 years old at the very youngest, probably. Hell, I may have even tried to do so when I was 17, but definitely at least 18, and I would have tried to do so like the day I would have turned 18. That would have been the best 18th birthday present that I could have possibly ever got myself. If I would have had drive and motivation in my life when I was a young teenager, and if I would have taken action in my life, and if I would have done a lot more like I definitely should have, I would have obviously been in a much better place in my life, physically, but also emotionally and mentally speaking as well. And I definitely would have been a lot happier, and I would have had more things, and I just would have been all around better off if I would have done more in my life when I was younger, like I wish I would have done. And looking back and just dwelling and focusing on my past, which I have a very hard and difficult time not doing, it's just the most depressing thing, because every time I look back at my past, I can only wish that I would have done more. Even though I didn't, I can only wish that I would have done more, because I can't change history. I can't rewrite my wrongdoings as much as I wish I could. I can't. I don't have that power or that ability as much as I wish I did. And so that's why I'm at this really shitty place in my life, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And why I'm just extremely bitter and angry, hateful, jealous, and envious of most people, no matter what their race is. I don't care if they're black, white, Mexican, Indian, Asian, white, whatever, Muslim. If they're in America, and if they're living in a big city, and if they had just a really prosperous life with many privileges and opportunities and experiences, and just given and handed so many things in their life growing up since they were a kid, I'm definitely going to be angry at them, hateful, jealous, and envious towards them. And there's no way in hell that I cannot be. And it has been really hard for me to get over my hatred and anger, jealousy, and envy for Black Americans. I've been trying my best, even though it may not seem like it. I have been trying my best with everything that I have in me to get over or recover or heal from my hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy towards Black Americans. But I don't believe for a second that I'm ever going to fully get over it. And I will say this to all you Black Americans, that I have a lot more hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy towards people of my own race, even way more than any of you. Honest to God, like, when I see, or even just think of all the white guys and girls, of course, who had the privilege and had the experience of growing up in a big city where they were able to just experience and intake all these things like the culture of the city, the environment, all the places, all the people, all the diversity, and just being able to experience so much from such a young age since their childhood, to me just pisses me the fuck off. And it makes me hate those white people, all of them. It makes me angry at them. It makes me jealous and envious of them way more than any of you Black Americans. Like, with all due respect, I have a lot more hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy towards my own people than any of you. When I see, like, a white teenager guy in a big city, which is very rare when I do, but when I do, I just instantly and immediately have the feelings of jealousy, envy, anger, and hatred all directed towards whoever the fuck that white teenage guy is. And when I see a white guy who's dating or let alone married to a Black woman, I get pissed the fuck off. I get just like a burst of rage inside me. I don't know if any of you ever have felt that way any time period in your life, but I do myself. And believe me when I say that, when I see any white guy online or in real life, which is even way worse and way more depressing, heartbreaking, crushing, painful, torturing, and tormenting emotionally and mentally than ever seeing a white guy with a Black girl online, because it's not the real thing, it's not real life. But when I see it in real life, I get a burst of rage. I get a burst of anger, hatred, jealousy, and envy, just like in a split second. And it just overtakes me, and I'm just overcome by it. And at the same time, I also feel just heartbroken, because those stupid ass punk faggot wiggers from big cities, unlike me, actually had the privilege and had the opportunity or chance to even be able to get with a sexy ass Black woman. And that's unfair, because unlike me, they actually were able to, because most likely they grew up in a mixed neighborhood or even a predominantly Black one. They probably went to a mixed school in a big city, or even a predominantly Black one in some cases. And when they started growing up and like got their apartment or whatever, they probably had it just so easy to be able to find and meet a Black woman that they desired to get with and date or even marry eventually. And also keep in mind that these stupid punk ass faggot wiggers from inner cities, big inner cities for that matter, also when they get a job in a big city, guess what? They obviously work alongside Black people. So obviously that way as well, they just have it so damn easy to be able to get with a Black woman. And you know, I would never be friends with a white guy like that. A white guy like that is my ultimate enemy. Like, seriously. I'm dead serious when I say that those specific white guys are, honest to God, literally my worst enemy. My ultimate enemy who I hate with all my heart, am angry at, jealous, and envious of, and would never become friends with, even if my life depended on it. But obviously, my life doesn't depend on me making friends with anyone. Like, I wouldn't even really need friends. Like, I'm not gonna die if I don't have friends. Like, there's nothing that would be, like, harmful to me or deadly or dangerous about me if I choose to make friends with literally nobody. Because, I mean, let's face it, I'm a guy who's really misunderstood. And I'm a guy who also has gone through bullshit and hell emotionally and mentally that most people just haven't. And so most people just cannot understand what the fuck it is to be like me, what it has been like me since I was 15 years old in 2012. All of the emotions and feelings and just turmoil that I had been going through and experiencing all by myself, all alone, since I was 15 years old in 2012, and just I kept experiencing as I got older and as the years kept going on and just passing by. Like, nobody knows what it really is like to be me emotionally and mentally. Like, and unless any of you walked a mile in my shoes, you can't say that you know what I've gone through. You can't act or pretend like you know exactly what it's like to be me when you haven't yet walked a mile in my shoes. You just don't know what it's like. You don't have the slightest fucking clue. And so I would appreciate it if any of you would just stop with the pretending and acting as if you really know what it's like to be me and what it has been like for me to go through the bullshit, the hell, the torture and torment emotionally and mentally that I've gone through for years of my life. Just spare me from your fake, phony sympathy and pity and your compassion and your understanding or whatever when you really don't. But like I said, I hate and am angry at and jealous and envious of any cocksucking bitch-ass white guy from a big inner city who, unlike me, actually had the privilege, chance, opportunity, and experience of being able to easily get with just about any black woman he wanted, and especially if it's a sexy black woman. And that's pretty much the only white guys I'm like angry at, jealous, and envious of and hate are the ones who are with hot ass black women. I fucking hate those white guys. Just so you know, and just so you're all aware, and just so you understand, I hate bitch-ass faggot, motherfucking white guys like you who are nothing to me but worthless, pathetic, pitiful, low-life wiggers from big cities. And, I mean, the other fact and reason why you were able to even get with a hot, sexy-ass black woman is because, well, you had the confidence, you had the self-esteem, you had the balls, the courage, the whatever, and, I mean, most likely you also had the fucking looks. So, of course, it was easy for you. It was just too easy. And you were just so smooth and so chill, and you just swooped her off her feet. Fucking ridiculous. But, yeah. You white guys, my ultimate enemies, who are able to get with hot-ass, sexy-ass black women from big cities. I mean, I don't know, like, it's unfair. I don't care what fucking way you look at it, because from my perspective, it's unfair because I did not have the privilege, the opportunity, the chance, the experience of even being able to be raised in a big city, as much as I wish I could have been. And I totally do. All the fucking way. I really do. I really wish I would have been raised in a big city. Or at least, I definitely wish my parents would have thought to move back to one when I was a teenager. But no, didn't happen. Didn't happen. As much as I wish it would have happened, no, did not. And so, going through years of my life, starting from age 15 in the year 2012, and just onward, of all those many days, weeks, months, and years that I wanted to be able to move to a big city, and I wanted to go to one, I wanted to experience one, I wanted to be able to interact with black people, especially black women, but no, I did not get that chance or opportunity. I did not get that fucking privilege that so many of you dick-sucking, white, stupid-ass wiggers from big cities get yourselves. Which to me, again, is just unfair. But, you know, like I said, I can't really blame or judge any black American for almost always choosing to live in big cities, because if I would have had that privilege, if I would have had that chance and opportunity myself, I definitely would have done the exact same. And I also wanted to make this apology video because I feel guilty and just like dog shit of how much and how long I have been bashing and attacking and judging and ridiculing black Americans, even though the fact that they were raised in big cities wasn't necessarily their doing, but their parents' doing. It was their parents' decision. It was out of their control. Just like where my parents raised me, it was out of my fucking control. I couldn't do anything about it. And as a child, I didn't even know that I wanted so badly and desperately to be raised in a big city and experience diversity to such an extreme extent, mainly in mostly black Americans, to be honest though. And that's because as a kid, I didn't think about that shit. I didn't think about all the many things that I missed out on and that I was totally excluded from, isolated from, and just kept from, prevented from, sheltered from in my life growing up since I was a kid. And as a teenager, when I finally was aware of it, it was fucking painful. It really was. Like, in all seriousness, it was painful as fuck, emotionally and mentally. Believe me when I say that. Ever since I was 15, I have endured nothing but hell, emotionally and mentally. And I wouldn't wish what I've been through on my worst enemies. Not even punk-ass wiggers from big cities. Like, seriously. I wouldn't wish that even on you guys. Even as much as I hate the fucking shit out of you, and am angry at you, and jealous and envious of you cocksucking motherfuckers, I wouldn't wish what I've been through and what I've experienced on any of you. Seriously. I wouldn't. Not on my worst enemy. And, you know, I can also understand why black people, even though I have never been raised in a big city myself, I can actually understand why they just pretty much always or most of the time chose or choose to live in big cities. Because after black Americans or black people, whatever, living in big cities for so many generations and for as long as they have, the big cities just become like what they know, what they're used to. And big cities, the way I feel is that it just becomes their heart, soul, mind, and body. Or their heart, soul, mind, and body is like indebted to big cities. Like, it's just connected to big cities. Like, when I think of big cities, I just think of black people automatically. And when I think of black people, I think of big cities. Like, they just go together. Like ketchup and mustard, like peanut butter and jelly. They're just one and the same. They're just connected. Like, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. They just really are. I mean, it wouldn't take a genius to figure that out, which is so obvious. And I'm not judging you about that. And I'm honestly saying that I get that. I understand that. And I mean, I do. I really do. Even as someone who hasn't been raised in a big city, and as someone who does have a lot of hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy towards Black Americans, I'm not going to act or pretend like I don't understand or even see or kind of get why they chose to live in big cities for as long as they have. And a lot of their culture comes from big cities. A lot of their culture does. I mean, it definitely makes me depressed and heartbroken and crushed, torn apart, and damaged beyond repair. But I see why that you have done that. I see why most of you have just always done that. And obviously, like, big cities is what most Black Americans know. It's what they're used to. It's what they understand. Black Americans know big cities like the back of their fucking hand. They're so used to the culture, the environment, the places, and the people that come with living in a big city. And they always just have fun. They party it up. They just live life in the fast lane. They just live in the moment. They just have all the fun and excitement and adventure and joy and happiness and experiences that they possibly can, all in big cities. And the funny thing is, when they get sick and tired of one big city, they just move to another one. Just like that. Just like that. They just move to another one. It's easy for them. And so I don't know, I just wanted to take the time to apologize and to say I'm sorry. Even though I still do have a lot of hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy for most of you, I am sorry, because I don't want to let this rest on my conscience. I don't feel good about just going through my life knowing if I never even at least attempted to make an apology video towards most of you. And you know, I mean, the thing is, I can't relate to most Black Americans, nor can I connect with any of you. Well, I mean, not necessarily any of you, but the majority of you. There's definitely some I would be able to relate to and connect with and have a lot in common with, but that's when it comes to literally Black men who are virgins, who are raging, pissed off, angry, hateful, jealous, envious, virgin incels. Those are the only ones that I would ever be able to kick it with and to spend time with and would love and appreciate and be grateful of being friends with. And I mean, it would be the same case for guys of any other race. The outcasts, the social rejects, the outsiders, the loners, the losers, the doomers, the pathetic, pitiful, worthless lowlives of society. Those are the only guys I would ever be able to make friends with, to kick it with, to relate to connect with, and to just all around have a lot in common with. I mean, obviously, that's a very obvious fact there. And, you know, the sad thing is, I don't even relate to most white people. I mean, seriously, I can't. I mean, it's impossible for me to relate, connect with, and have a lot in common with even white people of my own race, my own kind, because I'm not even like most white people. I'm so different and distant from most of them. I'm completely set apart from the majority of white American men and women. I'm just pretty much not at all like any of them. I'm isolated from them. I'm introverted. I'm not antisocial, but I am isolated, and I have been so most of my life, and I am introverted. That's a fact. I am an outsider, I am an outcast, I am a social reject, I'm a raging virgin incel who's 24 and will be 25 next year and most likely still a virgin. And I'm just getting older and more bitter as time goes on. And that's the truth about me. I mean, at least I'm being honest here. At least I'm being open and straightforward. It's better than being a fake and just wearing a fucking mask and pretending to act or be like someone I'm not. I mean, I would never do something like that. Me? No. I would never do something like that. All of my life, I only wanted to ever be honest, straightforward, and open. I just wanted to be real. Real to other people and real with myself of who I truly, deep down inside am. As a person, as a guy. But, I mean, honestly, you know, I'm probably most likely not going to ever make friends with any black people in real life. Even the ones that I would like to, or even love to for that matter. But even then, I don't live near any of them. I've never interacted with any black people. I've never really experienced black people. I haven't ever experienced Indian Americans or Muslim Americans. I haven't even experienced that many Mexican Americans. It's been a while since I've even interacted with socially or physically with even white Americans. I mean, ever since I dropped out of high school many years ago in 2013 when I was 16, I completely shut out the world from me. And I shunned myself from the world. I crawled into a black hole where I remained for years. And isolated myself, separated myself from the normies and the NPCs of society. Because I know I'm nothing like them. I don't belong in the society that we have, that we know. I don't belong in it. Because I don't benefit from our society, and neither do I offer our society anything that it would benefit from me. I'm just a problem and an issue for a society like ours, and so are other guys like me. And that's the truth. That's the reality of things. But, I mean, and the thing, I've said in earlier videos, I'm never going to move to a big city because even big cities that I've never been to have caused me too much suffering. I mean, I would maybe, visit one, maybe, or go to one if I really had to for something important. But when it comes to living in one permanently, hell to the fucking no. Big cities have brought me and cost me nothing but suffering. Nothing but pain for years in my life. And that's why I doubt I'll ever have friends with minorities, immigrants. And I definitely would not make friends with white people from inner cities, from big ones, who were able to experience a lot more than I ever was in my life. I don't want to make friends with people who had gaming consoles and video games of their own growing up, starting with 2000s kids, because I was myself. I wouldn't want to make friends with teenagers starting in the 2010s era and generation who had gaming computers, because I didn't, but I was a 2010s teenager. And I wouldn't want to make friends with guys of any race who have been able to have tons of girlfriends and just are flat out man whores. Chads, Chadrigas, Tyrones, and Jamals. I wouldn't want to make friends with people who were able to get jobs as teenagers, because I didn't, and I can't relate and connect with people like that. No offense. I don't want to make friends with people who were able to move out of their parents' home at the age of 18, because I can't relate or connect with that. I don't want to make friends with people who even have their driver's license and had a vehicle since they were a teenager, because I can't relate or connect with people like that. I wouldn't mind being friends with people like that, but at the same time, I can't pretend or act like I would be able to relate to or connect with a person like that, because I'm a loser. I'm a doomer. I'm a failure at this life of our society. I have just failed so badly. I'm just a nowhere man. And you know, I just feel bad. I don't know. I just feel bad about a lot of things. I feel guilty, ashamed, embarrassed, and humiliated of myself for many reasons. And it's not like I've accomplished or achieved anything in my life that I would ever be able to really be proud of myself for. And that's why I'm not. I don't have pride in my life. I'm not proud of myself for any reasons at all, because again, I have nothing to be proud of myself for. Nothing at all. But anyways, I just wanted to mainly apologize and say I'm sorry to most Black Americans for really hating and being angry and jealous and envious of most of you for living in big cities, because I never had that privilege, chance, opportunity, or experience myself, because I can't really blame or judge you for that. I mean, that's honestly unfair, and that's pretty much the only thing I really wanted to apologize and say that I'm sorry for. And I mean, but again, it's not like I'm really ever gonna fully, truly get over my hatred for Black Americans, or my anger, jealousy, and envy of most of you. I will say this though, I do think and believe that if there's any possible way that I could be able to possibly or maybe get over my hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy for most Black Americans, is if and only if I were able to date and especially marry a really hot, sexy ass Black woman. But like that would ever happen. And plus, I don't deserve a Black woman. I don't feel like I have the right to date or marry a Black woman. I don't think I deserve one. And what Black woman, especially a really attractive one in her right mind, would ever want to be with just an absolute monster like me? I mean, because that's how I even view myself, like a monster. Because I mean, that's how society would view someone like me. That's how many people on YouTube view me. And I'm not going to act or pretend like I don't even think that of myself. But yeah, I mean, seriously, what Black woman in her right mind, in her right state of mind, would want to be with a 24-year-old raging, pissed off, hateful, angry, jealous, envious virgin like me, who's a loser, a doomer, a failure, a pathetic, worthless, pitiful lowlife, an outcast, a social reject, an outsider, an introvert, a loner, a shy guy? And I would be shy around any attractive women of any race. I'm not going to pretend or act like I wouldn't be shy around any really attractive women of any race. I don't care what race they are. If they're attractive, then I would definitely be shy of them. That's the truth. That's the honest to God truth. But seriously, that's the only way that I could ever really see myself ever fully recovering and getting over my hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy for Black Americans, or even for white people who grew up in big cities experiencing them since they were kids. As if I was able to date and marry a Black woman, and only if she truly loved me unconditionally, to the point where she would do just about anything in her power and ability to try and heal me. I mean, that would be awesome and a dream come true, but like something like that would ever happen. And the thing is, it won't. So I'm not going to pretend or act like it ever will. And I'm not going to put any hope or faith in something like that, knowing that it will most likely never happen. So it's just hopeless for me and any guys out there in the world like me. It's hopeless for us. It's over. But anyways, this is all I wanted to say in today's video. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm out.